warm welcome back to TVB News. Supermarket chain Park & Shop shut down all of its outlets for several hours today because of a computer glitch. Things returned to normal by 2 p.m. Park & Shop outlets were closed for business this morning. A notice posted outside said a system issue was to blame. The supermarket giant said its computer system failed to update the discounted prices of goods, so the stores were closed so that consumers would not have to pay the full prices. Some shoppers only learned about the service suspension after arriving at the stores. The glitch also affected Fusion and Taste outlets. The problem was fixed later in the day.
Canto pop star Leon Lai says his concert this evening will be held as scheduled. This comes after yesterday's show was canceled just hours before it was supposed to start over fire safety concerns. Authorities had refused to grant the concert organizer a permit to hold the event because the marquee at the venue was not up to standard. This afternoon, concert staff were seen removing the problematic structure. And now the Fire Services Department has given the green light. But it still requires the approval of the Food and Environmental Hygiene Department. Pop star also announced ticket holders from yesterday can get a refund.
Well, the government today published its 2017 list of public holidays, and Rachel Leung takes a look.
People always look at the list of public holidays and trying to plan for their vacations. So what's ahead for 2017? As usual, workers can enjoy 17 public holidays. New Year's Day, the second day of the Lunar New Year, and National Day all fall on a Sunday. Not to worry, because that means another day will be designated as a general holiday. For New Year's Day, the next day, January 2nd, is a holiday. For National Day, the next day, October 2nd, is a holiday. And for the second day of the Lunar New Year, the fourth day of the Lunar New Year, Tuesday, January 31st, is now a holiday. Meanwhile, the first day of the Lunar New Year, the day after Good Friday, July 1st, and the day after National Day fall on a Saturday. Workers who are generally off on Saturdays won't get another day off. Lawmaker Kwok Wai-keung explained that only when a designated public holiday falls on a Sunday that the following weekday would be made a public holiday. He added that it would be difficult for employers to consider compensating their workers with another day off if the public holiday falls on a Saturday. Rather, that should be done on a voluntary basis. Now, there are already holiday tips online showing employees how to make good use of their holidays next year. Take 4 days off in April will land you 10 consecutive days off over Easter. As for May, during the week of Labor Day and Buddha's birthday, take 3 days off and you can be off for 9 days. Same for October around National Day and Mid-Autumn Festival. As for Christmas and New Year, workers can have a 10-day vacation with just 3 days of leave. Rachel Leung, TVB News.
Japanese Foreign Minister Fumio Kishida is on a visit to China. Kishida left Tokyo this morning. He'll hold talks with Premier Li Keqiang tomorrow. The two leaders are expected to discuss ways to improve bilateral ties, as well as the situation in the South China Sea. Slowing economic growth on the mainland and the impact on the world economy is another topic of concern. Kishida's visit paves the way for a meeting between the leaders of China and Japan at the G20 summit later this year. Tensions continue to escalate on the Korean peninsula, with the South up in arms over the North's attempt to fire 2 ballistic missiles yesterday. While China and Russia accuse the U.S. of fueling the fire over this row, Pyongyang sentenced an American man to 10 years for espionage.
A spokesman of South Korea's unification ministry condemned Pyongyang's failed attempt at launching 2 missiles, but he also rubbed salt in the wound by calling it a setback for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in the run-up to next week's ruling party Congress. Failed attempts aside, the launches are thought to be from a new intermediate-range missile, the kind that could one day reach U.S. military bases in Asia and the Pacific. A concern United Nations warned North Korea to stand down.
These types of actions by the DPRK are extremely troubling, and we would yet again encourage the DPRK to cease any further provocative actions.
The latest launches come amid North Korean anger over the annual South Korean-U.S. military drills. Anger that worsened after Washington entered talks with Seoul about deploying a new anti-missile system in the wake of the North's nuclear and missile tests. In Beijing today, the foreign ministers of China and Russia discussed the resumption of six-party talks to resolve the North's nuclear issue. Both countries urged the U.S. not to install its anti-missile system in South Korea. Foreign Minister Wang Yi insists doing so will directly harm the strategic interests of China and Russia. His Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, accused the U.S. of using the row as a pretext to increase its military presence in the Korean peninsula. And in what the U.S. suspects is retaliation, Pyongyang sentenced a South Korean-born U.S. citizen to 10 years in prison for subversion and espionage. The North insists Kim Dong-chul was collecting state and military secrets for South Korea, including its nuclear tests and facilities, and photographing warships.
Lucifer in the flesh. That's how former U.S. House Speaker John Boehner described presidential hopeful Ted Cruz in the latest chapter of Republican infighting in the race for the White House.
So how about saying your opinions on some of the other people running for the highest office? How about Ted Cruz?
Lucifer in the flesh over my dead body, will he be president? Donald Trump and I are friends. We played a lot of golf together over the years. We used to be texting buddies. He used to call me once in a while, pat me on the back, cheer me up. Thankfully, I haven't heard from him since he decided to run for president.
John Boehner had some interesting comments last night. He actually didn't abbreviate what he said. He was a little bit more expressive. He allowed his inner Trump to come out. What Boehner is angry with is the American people holding him accountable. That's what the anger is, because the corrupt system that Boehner and Hillary have been enmeshed with for years, funded by Donald Trump. Donald's writing checks to Boehner, he's writing checks to Hillary, he's funding the corrupt system. It is unaccountable to the people.
Britain's Foreign Secretary said during a landmark visit to Cuba that London will strive to strengthen ties with the Caribbean nation. Philip Hammond is the first British Foreign Secretary to visit Cuba since the 1959 revolution. During his visit, he and his Cuban counterpart signed 4 memorandums of understanding. They intend to open negotiations on education, energy, culture, and financial services. Right, Tony, over to you for sports.
That's right, we've got some football to start off with. Two-time defending Europa League champions Sevilla earned a vital away draw in the Ukraine last night. Meanwhile, Liverpool conceded a goal in the dying minutes against Villarreal.
Liverpool looked to be heading towards a draw against Villarreal before the Spaniard struck in the depths of injury time. Adrian Lopez scored the winner for the hosts after a quick counter-attack in the second minute of stoppage time. The result leaves Liverpool needing to win the second leg at home next week to keep alive their chance of making it to the final.
And I saw a lot of things, what showed me that we can. That doesn't mean that we will do, but with the help of Anfield, we can do a lot. And doesn't mean now, please don't compare everything with Dortmund, but things are possible, and 1-0 is not, it's not the biggest result in the world.
There were goals galore in Ukraine, where Shakhtar Donetsk drew with two-time defending champions Sevilla.